Hello world! I've been looking at a calendar and just realizing that if I do want to release a video on the last Sunday of October and do a flip through of all my Inktober drawings, I'm gonna miss a couple of entries. Anyway, that would be incredibly sad. So, what I'm going to do instead is talk a little about what I am learning from this Inktober so far this year, reflecting a bit about what I've been doing differently from last year and what I'm doing and what I'm learning from that and stuff like that. I'll be doing a proper flip through sometime during November, but for now, let's get into it. Let's start with the supplies. This year, I've been keeping a prompt list of monsters and creatures. It was created by AKB Illustrations. If you remember the scroller box from March, the one about potions, she was the one who made the print in that box, and you should go check her out if you haven't already. She's really, really lovely. She puts out awesome stuff. Last year, I followed the official prompt list, and it's a lot more abstract concepts, and if I do go back to the official list next year, I might just be mixing it up with a more concrete theme, put those two together. The thing about a list of corporeal prompts, if I may call it that, is it is much better to theme it up, make each drawing consistent with the last. I am starting to feel a bit burned out on the style theme though, but I'm so deep in it now that I really, really want to keep it going. And I have yet to find out whether this is a good thing, but it's definitely a good challenge on my ability to stick to what I started. This year I've used an A6 size watercolor paper. In general, I'm pretty much used to drawing on A5, blaming the sketchbooks, and I can really feel the shrinkage of size. It's 50% smaller, but it does allow me to still have a lot of details, but in a drastically reduced time and frame. I do have to think a lot more of composition and preservation of white space. I think I can feel slipping slowly as I get less and less available poses. Small papers just easily become very, very busy and crammed if you don't take white space into consideration. This can, however, be a good thing. It's all about the effect you want, really. I do, however, wish I had chosen a normal drawing paper for these. Not that I dislike the faint texture of the paper. It does make the lines much more squiggly and creepy, and it's really an effect I like and adore when combined with this theme. But the surface coating of the watercolor paper seem very glossy, oily, waxy, even. I don't know, but compared to my normal drawing paper and mixed with the very fine nib of an 003 fine liner, I'd have to switch between two to kind of give them a break, and once in a while the ink doesn't seem to really stick, and then it comes back with full strength. I am now on my third 003 fine liner, and have more coming because I ran out. I don't know, but it does make the whole process more tedious. It does, however, also give the details this fine, sketchy look. Again, it's all about the effect you want. Of all the papers I've put in ring binder, it does give me a sturdy surface for drawing everywhere, and it's a neat way of organizing my drawings in a pretty binder. When I've finished the drawing, I'll just put it right back in the stack and can then focus on the prompt of the day. So about those fine liners, eh? This year I am restricting myself to 3 fine liners, 003 for the drawing, 01 for outlining and deepening shadows, and 005 just really for signature. I'm doing this for mostly 3 reasons. First off, to be able to bring all of my supplies with me everywhere I go without being sad that I can't do an illustration in, say, ink wash. It lets me focus more on just getting drawing instead of using valuable time deciding the medium. Number 2, it lets me more easily gauge how much I've improved, because the only variable from day to day is the motif and the amount of motivation on the given day. Wait. Oh, I should have kept track on that. Next year. And third, just really to keep the look consistent. And I'm finding these reasons to be very liberating. It lets me concentrate on the thing I personally find most important, the technical skill improvement. It just feels a lot less wishy-washy. On the frame I use a ruler just for the sketch and freehand on top of the ruled line. This creates a fairly straight line, but with a lot of character and organic feel. It's just a general thing. Again, all about the effect you want. And I am very fond of this effect. Let's move on to the more practical side of things. Last year I chose to film all of the prompts. Well, I missed a couple where I had the choice between filming or not uploading that day, but yeah, I was just sketching ideas while on the train and doing everything else when I got home. I used so much time on this. Time I didn't have between school and life, and time I definitely don't have now with work and life. So I decided to accept that if I wanted the level of detail I'm working with this year, I had to let go of something else. You know, a day is a Venn diagram made up of thousands of circles, but only a few of them can actually overlap. And it's your job as a conscious human to piece together what circles you want in yours. And this is an almost impossible skill to master, or at least for longer than a couple of days at a time. Or maybe that's just me. Now, internet says otherwise. Anyway, back on track. I chose to give up on filming. I don't have the energy to make a weekly video, as we discussed in last month's video, and I really don't want to cram more than a week's worth of drawing into a single video. This meant I could draw and work everywhere. Almost. This was incredibly liberating. There was no stress during the day to hurry up and get home to film, only to crash right after and using the entire weekend to edit. True, it was my first 5 videos, so I've probably become a lot faster in my editing, but I also kinda want to have clean clothes and being able to sleep and eat, you know? Another thing I've chosen to do is to pre-sketch. I sketch out ideas and make the final pencil sketch the moment I have time. The same way I'm doing it right here. Releasing me from the daily time waster of being stuck without an idea, but just a drawing to focus on. Bring your supplies with you. This is only really possible due to the limited supplies, but even if it's just a sketchbook and a pencil, bring it everywhere and have a copy of the prompt list. Just in case an idea suddenly pops out of nowhere. You never know. I don't. Just find the times you aren't using. Use it for drawing. I know this can be a lot more difficult for some, but for me, I have a terrible and strong craving for nicotine, and to get my fix, I have to move outside. It's kinda like a forced break my body reminds me of. I used to use the smoke break for Twitter or YouTube or anything like that, but it's been fairly easy transition to just put in a podcast and start drawing. It does make it a lot harder if it's raining, but thus far it haven't actually rained that much. Well, while I've been on my break, it has rained a lot otherwise. I might be lucky on this. Remember, and this one is a really important one. If you're not used to drawing every day, your arms and wrists are not used to the extra stress. Learn some basic wrist exercises and do them often. Especially if you work with a mouse on a computer all day. I had my first pain scare on the 17th. It's not something I want to experience again. It's really not. And we don't want to make that a recurring thing. Definitely not. I don't have time for that. Then there's the personal stuff. Accepting that sometimes you can't finish a prompt to the complete extent you want. Accepting that sometimes time gets sparse. Sleep and food is more important than a stupid drawing. Use the time you have. Use it wisely. Don't fuck up yourself all the time you have around you and with others and whatever. Use the time you have. Accepting that mind space and energy might suddenly block you off is a good thing to learn too. It's a hard thing to learn. Once in a while, your body or mind may not respect your decisions or that you're in control. You can pressure if you can, but be aware of your body's warning signs. Please, just don't let a silly challenge take over your health. So, on that uplifting note, I'm gonna do a little bit of catch up. I know this is a long one. Number 1. Mix the prompt up with a theme, something concrete. Number 2. Before you start, think of how much time you want to spend on the challenge each day. Plan supplies accordingly. Number 3. Keep supplies limited. Number 4. Plan your day and find the small pockets of wasted time. Time wasters will still be there when you're done. And 4.5. Update the plan as you go along. I cannot stress how important it is to keep the plan updatable. Number 5. Sketch as much as possible, even if you don't want to pre-sketch the final drawing. At least work on the sketch ideas. Number 6. Bring your supplies along. At the very least, keep the sketchbook close. Number 7. The challenge is a marathon. If you don't train your muscles for it, they are gonna get mad at you. Listen to your body. Number 8. Find out what the challenge means to you. And number 9. Take care of your physical and mental health. You only really fail if you lose yourself in all of this. And the last thing I want to end on is a lot of the things on this list are reflections of what I'm doing differently this year than last year. So, number 10, come back next year. Stop, take breaks, reflect, feel yourself, and learn. Because isn't that what this challenge is at its core all about?